Welcome to the Cult Classic Horror Show. Every week, you can have the conversations you've always wanted to have about the films you love.
Shut up!
We're gonna get you. Not another peep. Kinda
Get rid of your distractions and prepare yourself.
Then lock your door. 5, 6, gonna do some pics.
You got a big surprise coming to you. You're not going anywhere.
Welcome, everybody, to the Cult Classic Horror Show. Danny Bonin here with you guys.
And Scotty Bonin here with you guys.
We are the Blood Brothers. And
the Rob.
And
Carmelo Chimera.
Woo, I'm taking Rob's and for good now. It's done.
Yeah, it's over.
Danny has good ands.
And I'm taking
Scream 4 tonight, right?
Scream 4. And good God, Carmelo's sitting there drinking Woodbridge, which we shared only a week ago together in the same room.
Dude.
And here we are on separate ends of the nation
Here we are,
again.
separate ends of the nation, yep.
Frustrating.
It was so surreal
Miss you
being together. I miss you guys so much.
I'm afraid, though, that if we all lived in the vicinity, I don't know how much we'd get done of anything.
Yeah, we'd all be just
you know what
out.
You know what it would be?
Going
We
to
would get a
mountains.
shitload done on the podcast and future films, but outside of that, I don't think anything would receive any attention
Our
whatsoever.
lives would just disintegrate around us.
We got like
Or
more
wives or
stuff.
kids.
We got more stuff done in 48 hours than we've done in a month.
Oh, yeah. just of all, like, the talking we did that we just
2
we got done
hours,
in, like 2
an,
days.
an hour and a half in the hot tub was like 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Easy.
Oh, yeah.
We were
And I
getting
can't
all
wait to share
pruny.
with everybody like what we're working on. We've got some horror movies we're working on, and we've got some awesome improvements to the podcast we're working on.
yeah.
And all this new interactive content we're going to roll out for Patreon in the next week or so. It's awesome.
All of our pubes shared a hot tub together.
Yes.
Just so you know.
I mean,
Shared my hot tub.
Scotty did disinfect it.
I did. I bought chlorine, and I disinfected it where I saw that girl that I was friends with back in the day, and yeah, I disinfected it. So everything was clean and clear.
After Rob left and Scotty changed the filter, it was like a gorilla on one side.
Yeah, I had to spray it out with the hose. It had tons of hair everywhere.
Scream 4!
Scream for you. Scream for me.
We are wrapping up the Scream series today, today, whenever you're listening.
It has been a fun series.
Yes, it has. And you know what? We'll get to that in horror halftime. I think we haven't actually officially decided what's next yet. That's actually going to be part of the Patreon revamp, as you guys are going to be able to vote. But since we probably haven't rolled it out, I think we'll just make a decision. What do you
I think
Carmelo?
we'll just choose the next one, and then. But starting next week, there'll be a poll, and if you're a patron at the appropriate level, you'll be able to vote and to tell us which movie you want us to do next. So
yes,
we think like the essence of Patreon should be like you can participate with us and do this with us, and so we think that was a really cool benefit we could offer. It's part of being a part of a team. You know what I mean? It's not just you throwing money at us.
Yeah, exactly.
We
if you want to do that, go ahead and we'll strip.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely. There's not an article of clothing I won't sell you.
That's why we had the poll because we dance around it.
Yeah.
Which reminds me, we saved the hot tub water, so you can buy Cult Classic Horror hot tub water.
Yes,
exactly. That's right.
You can have hot tub water that because Rob doesn't wipe that good. And there were obviously remnants.
I stand to wipe now.
Yeah, well, we taught you that. We taught you that. I hope we taught a lot of people that now.
Well, before we get into it, I'm just going to make the call because we had so much interest after mentioning it in passing. I think we should just cover people under the stairs next week.
Agreed.
That sounds good to me.
All right. Rob groaned, and all the rest of us agreed, so it's settled.
We'll pay a little homage to Wes Craven since Scream 4 was the last film he directed. So
yeah,
we'll do a People Under the Stairs.
All right. Haven't we given that man enough attention?
Yeah, but we'll do it one last time. No.
All right. Yeah. What Carmelo said. First impressions. Let's hear it, Carmelo.
Oh, I love Scream 4. I think a franchise that has this solid of a fourth installment is rare. And I think part of that might be because they did wait a while and they came back when they had a really solid idea. But I think Scream 4 is great. It might be my second favorite of the series, actually.
Well, is the first one your first
The first
favorite?
one. Okay. I think the first one's a masterpiece. Right. And I think the rest are all very good. But I think this fourth one is my next favorite.
I liked Scream 4, and for all the wrong reasons. First of all, it's filled with just gorgeous women. I mean, I think more so than any Scream ever made, Scream 4 has the hottest girls in it. That's creepy old me saying that, so, excuse me on that.
Maybe any horror movie. I mean, especially if you count the triple openings, man. Oh my God!
And it's not.
I wrote Kirsten Bell with a little heart.
Yeah.
It's not
triple openings, man. That was crazy.
It's not creepy old me to crush on Kristen Bell because I think she's older than me actually. So that's okay.
Yeah.
You know what?
It's 2011.
You know what? This came out in 2011. I bet all of those kids are about my age or older than me. Possibly, maybe a little bit younger.
Now.
Maybe a little bit younger. Sorry, I did graduate in 2004, and some of them probably had just graduated high school. So let's not get technical.
Depending on which actor we're talking about. So yeah.
Let's not get technical. Out of the womb, into my room. Old enough to pee, old enough for me.
Oh my goodness.
God,
okay. All right. Let's cut him off.
Views of Danny
I'm
Bowen
sorry.
is not necessarily.
I'm sorry. That's Judd sneaking in.
Those are just like clever sayings that you just have to say at times.
That's all it is. They're folksy. They're just folksy expressions.
If there's no grass on the field, you flip them over and play in the mud.
Yeah. Yes. What if it's sod? There's mud.
Daddy, what do you think of?
All right. I like Scream 4. One of the reasons I do like it a lot is because it does pay an homage to the first one. It's very much like the archetypes of the characters we saw in the first Scream, which I love. So it definitely brought it back to that same feel. There's a lot more kills in this than any of the Screams too, so that was cool. We get like the most kills, and of course there's pretty girls getting killed, and there was kind of creative ways to use the knife and kills too, which weren't really seen a lot in the first three. So yeah, I liked it. I give it a 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10.
And here we go. Let's hear Rob.
I like this movie.
No, what?
Yes.
Yeah.
She is very entertaining, right?
And I really wish that I didn't.
It looks like It looks like he's texting on a sidekick right now.
Yeah.
No, podcast? Are you cheating on us with a side?
No, it's work emails. I need to put it away.
Yes.
This is my favorite Scream.
What?
Well, I can see that. I mean, it's Carmelo's second favorite.
It just is because it's so it shouldn't be good, but it's pretty good. So
there it is.
I was really surprised. It has a lot of holes in it, but it's actually a really good movie. And the ending was my favorite ending out of all the Screams. So like this. It's like a 10 out of 10. I love this movie.
Well, that's good news here.
We all like it. We all love Scream 4.
Let's get the I won't call it the rundown. Let's get the synopsis from Mr. Carmelo Camara,
please,
attorney at law.
Very good. Yes. So, in case you haven't seen Scream 4 recently and you want to follow along with the podcast, here's a brief summary of what you missed. Scream 4 picks up basically in real time years later after Scream 3, and has this crazy triple opening. You'll remember that in the Scream universe, there is a franchise of movies called Stab about the events of Scream. And so there's a little bit that plays with you there. But it does lead into a real murder because Sidney Prescott, the survivor of the first three, has returned to Woodsboro, where her friend Dewey is now the sheriff and his wife, Gail Weathers, is kind of retired from being a journalist. and Sydney is on like a book tour. She wrote this like self-help book, and she's become this really strong character. But a new killer is stalking the next generation of teenage horror movie victims, and it's clear that the killer is targeting Sydney. He leaves a bunch of bloody books in her trunk, for example. Eventually, the killer attacks Sydney's niece or cousin, Sydney's cousin Jill, and her group of friends. Kills one of them off and then kills Sydney's publicist, finally leading to the climactic party that we expect from Scream, only for Gale to intervene and end up injured. The party is a false ending, unlike the original Scream where that was the climax. And the new group of teenagers is they get together to watch some stab movies, and the killer strikes. But Sydney's there to intervene this time. Sydney is no longer a victim of any kind, really, and she's sort of a superhero in this movie to save these kids. But she's betrayed. Her cousin Jill is the killer and is seeking to recreate the murders, to remake the murders of the original Scream so that she can be the famous survivor girl. All of Scream 4 is really about remakes and about what that would look like today, killers who stream their video and so forth. Jill stabs Sydney, kills everybody else, and seems to get away with it, which is also a false ending. And then finally we have the real ending in the hospital afterward, where Jill tries to finish off Sydney, only to be killed off herself, defibrillated to the brain.
Yes.
So cool.
That was awesome.
Before we move on, I will say
Very
that
nice.
that Taylor C. Morgan, a.k.a. Hunter Jim, asked me to do the flip over playing the mud line in Judd. So there you go, Taylor.
Nice.
Yes. All for you, Taylor.
Hunter Jim was in She Walks the Woods, the original horror movie by the fine folks here at the Cult Classic Horror Show.
That's true.
Premiered last week at the Alamo Draft House.
The premiere was amazing, and all of us were there.
It was so fucking cool.
And we talked about it.
It was oh my god, it was incredible.
We like rushed.
That was
out
one of the most fun nights of my life.
Yeah.
Wasn't that so much fun?
Yeah,
we
me
like
too.
rushed out of recording Scream 3, went to my house and like got ready and rushed to the theater, and then we got there right in time.
It was
Fucking
so fun.
Scotty and I were shaving dry. Just
Yeah, we're
trying
like
to-
I'm out of shaving cream. Do you have any shaving cream? Nope. So we're like, fuck it. Let's use this lotion, this crappy lotion that I have.
Yeah, we
it
found
was-
some cream. We put it all over each
good.
other. And then
Oh yeah, it was amazing.
Rob and Carmelo got hot snakes from their breakfast burrito they had.
Yeah,
Oh my god, that really.
Denver Diner, man,
Yeah.
best breakfast burrito ever.
Oh, dude, it was awesome. It was so good.
Yes. What a great time. Anyone who came and is listening, thank you so much for your support. It was
Yes,
awesome.
thank you guys.
No, it was unbelievable.
Tons of fun, amazing.
Rob hasn't shut up about wanting to be in my arms right now.
Nope, I haven't.
Rob's
It's actually saddened me. Yeah, and I'm wearing the shirt. Me and Scotty went shopping together in Boulder.
Yes.
And I'm wearing the shirt that I got there, and I think I've washed it like 3 times because Savannah won't let me wear it more than 2 or 3 days in a row without washing
It's
it.
still nice and soft, and it has the nice Colorado C logo, the original C
Yes.
logo on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
if you want to see
Scotty got
Rob's
him one too.
I got myself one too. Yes, I did.
if you want to see Rob's shirt, we're streaming video now on our YouTube channel. So if you want to experience the podcast with video.
Yes,
But speaking of Rob,
guys.
Rob, you have a rundown for us.
Yes,
Yep.
please.
I do. It's not it's pretty tame actually.
Well,
Well, there we
But
go.
I have my rundown is we have Stab 6 or 7, Son of Stab. We also have a Gale who got hot again. We have Sydney who's still frumpy. We have a bitchy niece or cousin, whatever. I guess it's her cousin. We have a bitchy publicist, bitchy Gale, confused Sid, confused Dewey. We have shitty lemon cookies. We have a movie within a movie about a movie making fun of an original movie and remakes. We have a crushing garage door. We have awesome intro music. We have a Culkin. We have lines like, I have a 4.0 GPA and 135 IQ. We have police that attempt to shoot a cell phone. We have Horace Betty Crocker deputy. We have Tay Diggs, but he put on some weight. We have random BS plot point to keep Sid in town. We have lots of hints to the 90s and the facts that they existed. We have boyfriends sneaking in windows. We have the old closet switcheroo. We have Death by Knife. We have Scream Make. We have 50-minute. We have in 50 minutes of the movie, we all know the cousin did it. We have the nerdiest club in school throwing the biggest party in movie history. And we also have I want to be famous. I want to be famous and a superstar, so I'm going to kill everybody I know and try to set up my cousin, shoot my cheating ex-boyfriend in the dick, and get defibrillated in the head for one of the greatest endings of all time.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
I love it. I love it.
There you have it.
Very good. Very positive.
I really like this movie. It was not. It was good. It had a lot of things I don't think should have worked, but actually worked really well. And I think the only problem that I have with this movie is the fact that Emma Roberts probably weighs 70 pounds soaking wet, and I don't honestly think she could have got away with any of it.
So does the other guy.
Yeah, and they both were like 5'3".
Yeah, the other Culkin isn't doing much, and I honestly feel that as soon as the annoying friend with the cool name. Kirby or Roxy or Nippy or
I don't like short hair, but goddamn,
Haley is
good looking.
As soon as she like leaned over to him and did the whole hand on the thigh and it's time to make your move, he's done. He's not killing anymore. It's not worth it to him.
I think he would have given up when that asshole cock blocked him. He would have.
Oh, it would have.
Sure.
No, but I mean, I think I don't see it. I don't see it. But
yes.
But I will say that the actors and acting in this movie was very, very good. And I think that made up for a lot of some of the stuff that just didn't work too well.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Rob sounds like he's under duress. Rob sounds like someone is like threatening Savannah off camera.
It's very difficult to like one of these movies when I made my mind up that I was going to hate them all, and I damn it.
It was great. It was good.
It was the ghosts of Halloween visited him last night.
Scream 4.
And he's changed. He has the spirit of Halloween.
Grew 3 sizes that Halloween.
That's what it was.
Let me run some numbers by you guys.
Yeah.
So Scream 4 grossed $38.2 million in the U.S. and Canada, and $59 million in other territories, with a total grossing of $97.1 million against a $40 million budget. At opening weekend, it grossed $19.3 million, finishing second in box office. But it was actually disappointing. Box office total, second lowest in opening for the Scream franchise, but they still obviously made a profit. Worldwide, the film took $37 million from 30 territories, behind only Rio, which took $53 million, but it had 62 territories. It did get released on DVD, Blu-ray in 2011, grossing a total of $4.1 million in DVD sales, bringing a lifetime gross to approximately $101 million for Scream 4. In 2011, to promote the DVD Blu-ray release, they actually did have Universal Studios did produce Terror Tram Scream for Your Life as an event featured in its annual Halloween Horror Nights. And that was October 2011. And now you can find it. It first was premiered on aired on TV on Showtime, but now you can find it for free on Netflix, which is where I watched it.
All right.
So cool. There's some numbers there for you guys.
Well, let's jump into some things here. Let me just say, beforehand, Rob mentioned that Courtney Cox got hot again, which she did.
Dude, she ages well, man.
My Skype crashed, but I will say that she got hotter, but got more veinier. And I didn't like that. And
I don't know if I'm the only one that thought this. Plastic surgery on the lips and cheeks, perhaps?
I think she has had that.
I heard she had it undone. I heard she got some plastic surgery that made her look like freaking weird. and then she had it like removed, and she like regrets it. She's like, I should have just aged naturally.
Well, maybe.
I don't know if that's pre or post this. I think she looks great in this.
I think she looks really good in this.
Fine, but I do think there are signs of plastic surgery and major signs of plastic surgery with what's her name's mom in this movie. And it's like the plastic surgery twins here.
Are you talking about Emma's mom or Jill's mom?
Sydney's never before seen older sister who has like a plaster face. Yeah.
Because how old was Courtney Cox during this is 2011?
I'm not sure.
She was born in 1964, 2011. Someone do the math.
She's
there.
my mom's age. Huh.
There we go. So she's 55 now.
Well, let's get into this here. Otherwise, we're not even going to make it for the horror halftime.
Well, here we go.
Well,
my first note is simply sidekick. Because, sidekick telephone. Didn't everyone have a sidekick when they were...
Oh, yeah. The
flipping it open.
I think I had like the Motorola
flips up and you type and stuff.
In the beginning, she has a sidekick. She's texting on the sidekick.
She has a picture of Channing Tatum's abs.
I never had one, but they're just iconic.
I did have one.
People buried in their fucking sidekicks. All right.
I know that there was an alternate opening, that originally they had written an opening where there'd be a dinner party celebrating the release of Sydney's book. They'd be attacked and she was violently stabbed. And then they were going to jump 3 years. But I guess Weinstein, in between molesting people, Weinstein decided that it's the story too much. Actually, probably the best thing he ever did in his life, because I love the triple opening.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I think, I like that too. But both Bob and Harvey had a say in that. But I think hopefully Bob had more of a say because we like him better than Harvey.
Yeah, this was, I had that note too. Did you see the commentary, Carmelo, on this?
I just finished it like 10 minutes ago. Yeah.
So you do have commentary on this one? Do you have the same set I do?
No, I bought the first 3 in a set years ago, four, and then I bought 4 just this week so I could get the commentary. And I'll tell you what, the 3-pack that I have has 2 separate 90-minute documentaries on Scream. And I've almost like, I feel bad I didn't get to watch them before the episodes. Though these episodes have been chock full, I don't know that we had time for anything else. I would almost consider doing, if people want, I would do like a bonus episode on like the other stuff we missed as like a Patreon exclusive. If people want, I would.
Yeah, I also, it's probably the same one. I have a 90-minute documentary just on the first one too.
I have a 90 minutes on the first one and then a 90-minute retrospective on all 4.
Yeah, that's I have the same thing. And honestly, I was watching the all 4, and it's almost just a bunch of like useless interviews and people just talking about it about to come out and shit like that. But it looked like the one on the original really goes into in depth on it.
Yeah, so maybe Scream bonus episode for patrons will do.
Yeah. Let us know if you guys want that. But yes, they did indeed have an alternate opening. They filmed this movie basically throughout the year. So you have a lot of scenes that were done in the winter and a lot of scenes that were done in the summer. This opening happened to be done, at least the real opening, not the 2 fake openings. Yeah. This opening was done, it was like 0 to 15 degrees in that room. And you have her walking around sleeveless. And actually when Ghostface, the door opens and he comes in, there was a blizzard outside, and they had to digitally remove all the snow behind him out the door.
This was filmed in Michigan, is that right?
Yeah, it's filmed in Michigan, and most of it was in Ann Arbor, and then they filmed the hospital at the end in Detroit.
Oh, nice.
I have a note I want to share with our millions of listeners. That I have Kristen Bell with a heart. She and I, we share a birthday.
Ooh.
So Kristen Bell and I are soulmates. And if any of our, again, hundreds of millions of listeners out there knows Kristen Bell, please let her know. I'm waiting. I've been waiting for a long time. My wife will understand. So just let me know.
I don't think your wife would understand.
Kristen Bell's awesome.
I think
she's a Kristen Bell fan too.
She is.
I guess that's okay. I'll let it slide because my soulmate is Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, boo.
Rob, we all know that your soulmate is Chunky Tiffany.
No.
Jennifer Tilly.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, Tiffany. Jennifer Tilly.
That's me.
I have a quick question. Is there even a Stab 6? Or am I to believe that in this universe, the makers of Stab never made a Stab 6 and only did that intro to Stab 7, and that was their big like gimmick? Is that what I'm understanding?
I thought that Kristen Bell and Anna Paquin, which Kristen Bell Austin Lee stabs her. They were in stab 7, but then they saw. No, right. They were in stab 6, and then they're watching stab 7. Is that right?
No.
I'm thinking it's the same movie. That stab 7 has. That stab 6 is only a false opening. That there never was a complete stab 6, and that stab 7 is all about Kirsten Bell ostensibly.
Oh wait.
I don't know.
Lucy Hale was in stab 6.
Yeah, I don't know. They start to argue about that, and then they stop. And I'm guessing that was on purpose so that we can all have this endless argument about it now. But yeah, I have no idea, to tell you the truth.
It
hurts my brain to even start to think about it.
So they changed the opening a second time. We mentioned an alternate opening, but there's 2 girls in the beginning, and one of them gets killed off relatively quickly. She was originally supposed to be the opening girl, and I guess again Weinstein came in and was like, no, this other girl instead. And that ended up being
in between molesting people.
Exactly.
Yes,
in between molesting people.
I think,
and I forget her name, Tree Garden or Tea Garden.
Tea Garden, I think, or Tea. Yeah, I think it was Tea Garden.
Yeah, Amy Tea Garden was supposed to get killed first, and instead they made her the main opening girl, and that's why they ended up shooting some of that stuff in January, because they went back and reshot with her.
Yeah, and. Just a side note, Wes Craven did write this opening scene. He said Kevin Williamson was back as the writer again on this film, but just it was a real collaborative effort between him and Wes Craven on this whole movie, but he did pretty much write this opening scene. And a lot of just here and there stuff that they did last minute, too. Overall, Craven said that they had about 2.5 hours. They had a 2.5 hour movie when they cut it together, when he put his cut together, basically. And so I didn't watch them, but my Blu-ray has a ton of deleted scenes on it that aren't used at all, and they shot quite a bit. Obviously, an extra 30 or extra 45 minutes of scenes that are not used at all. So.
I didn't get to watch them all, but I have some notes on what was cut. They cut a lot of stuff with Trevor, the boyfriend.
Oh yeah.
So he's like the main red herring, and Jill does set him up to be Billy Loomis of the new generation.
Yeah, I thought he might be the killer at first.
That's what they want. That's the red herring. Yeah, that's what they want you to think.
But they said they overplayed their hand, that he was too much the red herring. It was too obvious to be him.
Yeah.
So they dialed him back to make him more mysterious and therefore make the red herring even better. So they cut a lot of him, and they cut a lot of Jill's mom. So again, Sydney's older sister, who we've never heard of, which – they could. I'm sure there's one of these deleted scenes explains she's like an older half sister or something.
There's a scene of her actually receiving plastic surgery.
Yeah,
yeah.
Right. So they cut that stuff out. Those were some of the things they cut that I do know of.
We already said it was filmed in Michigan. The school, the Pillars, just to mention it, it's crazy what the art department can do, because the pillars and the whole peak on this school were added as sort of a facade to make it look like the Woodsboro High School from the original Scream. And just while I'm talking about it, it's not till a little bit later, but the whole front of the police station is all a facade, just built by the art department as well. So it's just crazy they build the entire front of a building in front of the actual building. And I don't even know if it was at a police station, but it was quite the sight to see for the Michigan residents, the Ann Arbor residents at the time, going through all this.
Everything was filmed in Michigan. There was nothing filmed in L.A. It was all filmed there, right?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
That's crazy.
I have a note here. Nev is perfect. I wrote that. And then I wrote Alice Brie.
She's frumpy.
You're who?
Allison Brie.
Allison Brie.
Publicist.
Oh, what else is she in?
She's in Community, which is really
famous for
popular.
Community. Yeah.
But I've never watched
She's in the
Community.
new Lego movie.
You could watch Community on mute for Allison Brie.
She's very kooky and quirky, but she's really pretty too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one my wife does not understand. It's almost like my wife doesn't mind if I'm attracted to other blonde women, but if I'm attracted to a dark-haired woman, she's like, nope, I don't play that.
All right.
My wife made me rewind and rewatch the scene where Allison Brie gets murdered.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good. God, the murder scenes were good.
So good.
Yeah, they were good. Before we get inside the school, there's a statue out front that's supposed to be Henry Winkler from the first one.
Oh yeah,
it didn't quite.
Yeah,
I read
look
that.
like him too good, but it is. Then we talked about Nico being the red herring, plastic surgery, Gale. And then I talked about the seasons already. This scene outside when they're doing the book signing, and Dewey basically drives his car and runs in, and David Arquette is sitting there sweating his ass off. He was actually sweating because here we are, it's over 100 degrees that day, and they're filming. And if you heard right too, Carmelo, I think when they get to the trunk and they open the trunk and you see all the bloody stuff with Sydney, that was like a 0-degree day. So
yeah, it was January reshoots they did. Yeah,
it's just all cut together. And on any of those days that were 0-degree days, it's the same thing happened in the parking garage with what's her name?
With the publicist.
With the publicist.
Alison Brie.
The first part of the scene was in extensive heat, and then cut, all of a sudden it's like 15 degrees in there, and Wes said behind the camera we have all these large butane heaters just so we can work out there.
And that was a reshoot for that scene too. I know she had to come back for that. Rebecca Walters is the publicist.
I have a note about this. It's more of a discussion point. Why does Dewey sideline Gale in this movie? Like, I'm sure I could think of some good reasons. They could have made it like he's insecure, he wants to solve it without her. They could have made him like scared for her safety.
He's tired of her, man. She's out of work and she's just nagging him all the time.
I think he's ultimately dissatisfied with the plastic surgery she got and is tied down and stuck.
I think Dewey has he's gotten wiser. Like, you can even hear his voice is a little lower. He's calmed down a little bit. So I think he thinks he can handle it himself now. He doesn't need her help as he always has in all three other films.
I'd rather be banging his deputy.
I don't know about that. Her eyes are very beady.
Yeah, but she's younger. I'm sorry.
Like Shannon. Deputy looks like
you think so?
Yeah, a little bit more than Gale.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. I'm not. Yeah. My wife's not a plastic surgery veiny Stimpy from Ren and Stimpy.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that was Marley Shelton who played Officer Hicks.
She looks fine.
Which I read.
She's very veiny. I'm telling you, she's overly veiny.
Are we talking about Courtney Cox?
Yeah,
or
Courtney
Marley
Cox.
Shelton?
He's talking about Courtney Cox.
She's overly veiny.
I actually read here that her deputy name was in homage to Michael Biehn Hicks in Aliens.
Oh, good God. I love it. What is her deputy name?
Officer Hicks.
Oh, yeah.
Judy Hicks.
I just don't even start talking about aliens because
maybe she's Hicks's great-great-great-grandmother.
Oh.
It's the same.
Wait, that was in...
But Hicks was in the future.
Hicks is in like 2500. It's in like the way future.
That's true.
I guess Ashley Greene was set to play Judy Hicks, and she's in like the Twilight series and stuff.
According to Rob, it's Michael Biehn.
Biehn.
It is Biehn.
It looks like it's Biehn, but it's Biehn.
It's Biehn.
Do not disrespect Michael Biehn like such.
It's Biehn.
Michael Biehn is amazing.
He's a national treasure. He's way better than Kevin Costner.
No, he's not that, but he's very, very good.
I thought that she was the killer for a second.
Kevin Costner couldn't play coffee.
Also
in
a red
the
herring. That was intentional.
Don't you guys think?
I will say Savannah called the Culkin within 15 minutes.
I didn't realize that was a Culkin, and now I can completely see the resemblance.
I can see it. He kind of talks just like him with the lips and everything.
He sort of has puffy, like spaghetti cheeks, but without the cheeks. Like just the lips, the liver lips.
I still don't think he would have been the killer after Kirby made her move.
I know I wouldn't have.
Rory Culkin. He's the second, or he is the brother of Macaulay, but Macaulay also has another brother, Kieran Culkin.
Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 of them lurking around.
Yeah,
those are the 3. They all act together. So.
All right. Well, we talked about Emma being very small and Rory being very small and unbelievable as the killers in that regard. Emma did wear very tall shoes to be tall, platform shoes on top of like something else. I don't know. She talked about it. Yeah.
They had like 7 inches on her. They added.
Yeah, and also dyed her hair. I think she's normally a blonde. Dyed her hair dark.
Yeah.
Put on the shoes, and to just be a little bit more intimidating. But I totally agree. When the reveal happened, I was like, come on now.
I saw it coming with Emma with Emma because I Wikipedia'd it as I was watting the movie.
Oh, of course. You can't do that.
And I can, most certainly.
I wrote this note. How did Rob figure it out? Fucking cheater, you piece of shit.
But I don't think people would have got her, because I think her reasoning for it was really just weak. It just didn't make. I mean, she played the role very well. I'm not saying that. All your friends died and you became famous, so I'm going to do the same thing. And at least to me, in all these movies, nobody walked out of this a millionaire. Like Sid is riding around. Well, no, she's riding.
Sid's doing this like international press.
I know she is, but I mean, her rental car is a Toyota. I mean, she's not in like a Jag.
I mean, Gail should be a millionaire if she sold book rights. She should be the millionaire out of everybody.
Yeah, and in every movie we see Gail, she's like, "Oh, I'm back to top copy or hard copy
and she's
or
still trying to write."
You know, I actually liked the remake aspect of it. It being Culkin, it being the quiet movie nerd. Although I still firmly believe he would have backed out of that quickly.
I honestly didn't.
But I do love the ending in the fact that like Sydney and Dewey and Gail aren't affected by that. They're related. It's her cousin or what? No, they fry her brain and then put a bullet in her. I thought it was. I
didn't know her that well.
The ending was really, really good. I like that.
I don't. Thinking back, there's not a male in this film that would have been intimidating enough to really do these brutal kills. You know, we need our Jack Liev Schreiber to be the killer.
And like Dewey just sits there and doesn't do anything at the very end.
What'd you say about Loomis?
I was just saying, even Billy Loomis doesn't look quite physically imposing, but he looks creepy. He looks like he might try to kill you, right?
Yeah, and there's two of them. Well, I guess there's two of them here too. But yeah, and what you just said about Dewey, he's literally just running around this entire movie. He doesn't get anywhere to do anything.
He doesn't step up and take charge and do anything. He's just
driving during the whole movie. He's driving.
Even the last part, in the very last scene, he gets hit over the head with the bedpan, and he doesn't get up or do anything. It's just like, come on, man.
I think Dewey had a lot more potential in this movie that was definitely wasted, because David Arquette looks the part in this movie. He's a little bit older, he's a little bit more weathered, and I think they're still trying to play him off as doofy in it. But I mean, I would have liked to have seen him get the final kill.
Yeah.
Moses, he can filling my eardrums.
That's feels like needles coming out my urethra.
Bee sting.
That means it's time for the horror halftime. This week's horror halftime is brought to you by Iconic Canvas. Do you have a lot of empty space on your wall, or do you have that perfect image that you would like to create into a multi-panel canvas or a single canvas and throw it up on your wall? Well, if so, Iconic Canvas has the perfect solution for you. Check them out at iconiccanvas.net. All canvases are stretched over wood frames with solid wood backing and are ready to hang upon arrival. Each canvas is handmade with care right when you order it and inspected for quality before shipment. They use the latest technology in HD printing to bring you the most vibrant, eye-catching canvas possible. All of their products are backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can purchase without hesitation. 100% pine wood handmade frames, museum-quality canvas material. It also comes with coated metal hooks on the back, so you can hang those, although I actually recommend hanging them with command strips. Money plug for command strips. They didn't even ask me. What do you know? Reinforced backing on all prints so that your prints never sag. Never. They have hundreds of 5-star reviews. Check them out at iconiccanvas.net. But you can browse their selection of pre-made designs, all the way from abstract art involving movies, horror movies. Check out their horror section. I like it. Just search film or click on their film category and you'll see plenty of goodies in there. Landscape photography, shots of space. Who doesn't want to see images of fucking outer space? All the way to landmarks, animals, you name it, they have it on a canvas. And if they don't have it on a canvas, you can create your own canvas set. Simply upload any image you would like to use, as long as it's large enough, and they will turn it into your very own custom canvas set. Use the code CCH during checkout to get 15% off your order. That's the letters CCH. Use that during checkout at iconiccanvas.net to get 15% off your order. All right,
Yeah,
so
baby.
we do have a horror freak of the week for this week's horror halftime. Let's see here. Do we want a drum roll, please? Dylan Kroll, horror freak of the week. Dylan Kroll, a newcomer. Dylan Kroll, horror freak of the week. You have won due to your, I think, 2 memes that you put in there.
The Betty White, whatever, or Betty Davis meme with the bangs. There were so many good Gale Weathers bangs.
I will say that my favorite meme is Lance Dale's I'm a head out Courtney Cox bangs meme. I just got me. Just love it.
Dylan Kroll's was right there too, though. I mean,
Yeah, so
first time winner there, but there were so many good ones.
So Dylan, shoot us a message on the page. Give me your address, shirt size. We'll hook it up. Yes. So keep participating, guys. Get your memes submitted. Create a meme from Scream 4 so that you can submit it this week before we air next week's episode of People Under the Stairs. Then you can become the horror freak of the week. And I know I'm supposed to explain all of this, Carmelo,
Explain this, Danny.
but I did pretty much just explain it right then and there. So if you didn't catch that, create a meme that has to do with the previous week's episode, submit it in our group, our Facebook group, Cult Classic Horror Facebook group, or on any social media, but tag us at Cult Classic Horror, at CC Horror on Twitter, and use the hashtag horror halftime to be entered to be the horror freak of the week.
Yes. Good job, guys.
All right. That concludes the horror halftime.
So
I do have a note here.
do it.
Matthew Lillard visited the set. Which he did do. Remember, he was barely in it in Scream 2. It just makes me wondering if he just doesn't have much work and he's just hanging around the
Just
Scream
want to hang out
sets.
with his buddies.
Well, I mean, you can only get so much work playing Shaggy, I guess.
Yeah.
I think I heard that was one of the original ideas for Scream 3 was that Matthew Lillard was alive. That
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
was in jail.
I did talk about
orchestrating
that
the
last
murder.
time.
I would have liked that. That would have been fucking
But
awesome.
then the script got all
Only because I love Matthew Lillard.
Yes,
all
me
rewritten
too.
and he was out of it. That sucks.
I did hear Hayden say, she plays Kirby, that she was starstruck and just in awe and couldn't even talk to Matthew Lillard when he came.
Really?
Yeah.
Haley
It's very sweet.
Pantier or Hayden
That's so
Pantier.
sweet. Carmelo mentioned it. They filmed at a hospital in Detroit. The portion that they filmed in was under construction or shut down for remodeling, so they did have the run of the floor. Yeah. Heater. I already said heaters for the garage scene. I'm firing a couple off here while I'm on a roll.
Shotgun. It's the new segment.
The shotgun
Yes.
segment. One thing I thought was super interesting, if I guess it's true, is stunt woman actually jumped off the 6th floor of the parking garage and into some like stacked, piled up boxes or something. Is what Wes Craven said.
Hell yeah.
Like, why not a crash pad? Did she just have boxes stacked up a story high or something like that?
They could only afford a Toyota Camry in this movie and like an old ragged out Dodge Durango for Dewey. They just went to the ABC liquor and got all the free boxes out of the back.
I think that Dodge Durango was like brand new in 2011 though, so it was probably pretty nice back then.
It's a hideous car.
Scotty used to have a Durango.
Yeah, mine was the older year that looked nicer.
No, I didn't think it. I think they looked better.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Yours was the old year that looked like a mopey dog.
I had a 2000.
Pissing me off so much that Danny I'm not from
Durango.
Colorado. I can't get over it.
It's pissing you off that you're not in Colorado?
My Foreigner's a lot better.
I'll have you know, Rob, today I broke. I had to turn the heat on today in my house.
Damn
I did
it.
too. I turned my heat on as well.
Yep.
Rob actually got to drive Carmelo to the airport in my Foreigner, and he drove me back home because I was a little buzzed. So thank you for that.
We're talking and we're also messaging, and I'm reading messages from Rob and Carmelo right now.
Well, while you guys talk, I'll spit out some more facts here.
Yeah, what do you got?
Courtney Cox and David Arquette, who married in 1999, had filed for separation during filming of this in October 2010. There was slight tension on set, but they were said to have remained professional and respectful.
She's a
They later divorced in May of 2012. That's when they divorced. But that's got to be hard, filming on set with the person you're married to for like 10 years. But that'll happen. You got to be professional in this industry, right?
Yes. And during the, I guess it was the commentary. That's the only extra thing I watched, is that one of them was saying that, this is very much so like David and Courtney's actual relationship. They had these dynamics in it, but at the time they had to have been separated then if they had started separating during filming. So maybe they also meant that it led to their divorce, but didn't really talk about it on the commentary. I don't know. Another thing, I watched this during the outtakes. Courtney Cox legitimately didn't know what a circle jerk was when they say circle jerk.
Yeah.
Not surprised.
In the meeting there, she's like, what is that? and then she couldn't say it without her laughing or Nev Campbell laughing, and I literally watched like 10 takes where they just kept giggling like little girls and they couldn't say it. So that's interesting. Hurricane sirens went off while filming the barn scene about 7 or 8 times, and I think someone
hurricanes in Michigan?
Yeah, people were surprised in the commentary. Wow. They were like, I didn't know about that, but I guess if you think about it, the lakes are right there. And do you get hurricanes off the lake, Carmelo?
We do not get hurricanes off the lake.
Well, how do you get a hurricane? How do you get a hurricane in Michigan then?
I have no fucking idea how they got a hurricane in Michigan.
You don't get like
even senile. He meant tornado siren. We get those all the time.
I mean, you don't get like maybe he was senile and it was a tornado. You don't get any kind of extreme weather that involves the lake. We do during like the really cold times. You can see these awesome videos where waves have crashed onto Lakeshore Drive in Chicago and then frozen, and it looks like this like wall of ice. Oh. So we get that, and we'll get more rain and wind. We don't get like water related natural disasters from the lake. Okay. Just had to clear that up.
Yeah, I didn't think
because they did say
that
Wes did say that 2 people died from a hurricane in Michigan.
He must have meant.
He has to think tornado. Do you get tornadoes?
There's never been a hurricane in Michigan ever.
or maybe earthquake.
I live like in Hurricane Ground Zero. I think I'd hear if there was a hurricane in Michigan
in 2010 or whatever when they were filming this.
Except for Hurricane Sally's off the east side. Am I right?
Oh. God.
Yeah, where they got the best pussy. They got the best pussy in town and spaghetti.
It's
Hurricane Sally.
God, it's bullshit. Carmelo should be in the kitchen making
penny pasta with his homemade tomato sauce.
I was a little disappointed. I have to say, Carmelo, I loved your sauce. Your Italian gravy was great.
It was so good.
But I just always thought that like real quote unquote Italians just always made spaghetti and not this like penny and not like curly pasta
Italian?
And not
Penny's more.
I don't know. I just thought maybe that was a thing.
Penny is the best. Only Americans like spaghetti.
Penny's more traditional Italian than spaghetti.
Is Penny more traditional?
Yeah.
I'm asking an Italian.
My grandmother, my nonna never made spaghetti. She made penne pasta.
Really? Okay. All right.
But next time you guys come up, I'm going to cook more for you. I got some recipes in mind.
We need to we should have like been live all the time just to experience it because
literally should have streamed everything with GoPros.
Yeah, because the pasta was phenomenal, but me and Danny falling back at the King Supers and like it's time to go while Scotty and Carmelo argued the difference between grated Parmesan. And whatever the other one was.
We were like a nagging couple. A nagging couple.
They were. What am I saying here? Well, go ahead then.
Well, I have sort of a discussion point. I note that, and hear me out, I think the main character in this movie is actually Kirby. My reason is Jill turns out to be the killer, right? So she's meant to be like set up to be the protagonist, which is by Jill's design, but then Jill like turns into the killer, right? So she's not the protagonist. Sydney doesn't actually go through any growth in the movie. She doesn't change. We're introduced to her as this hardened badass, and she remains that like
frumpy hardened badass.
Figure. What?
Frumpy aged hardened badass.
All be aged, but she's like, and she's even wearing like primary colors and stuff. Like she's not like genuinely in peril. I mean, I did think for a minute they might kill her, but she's there to save people. Kirby is Sydney and Randy rolled into one character.
Yeah.
What's more, she doesn't die, and it's kind of a point of contention. I couldn't quite clear it up. Hayden Panettiere says that intentionally she doesn't stop moving. She means for herself to still be alive.
In her contract,
my wife said she heard.
Her contract says she is not allowed to die on screen.
I wish they would have left a stinger in the hospital or something.
Yeah, I don't know if, like, my wife heard that Hayden insisted she not die. I think it was more the producers like, oh, if we want to do a sequel, we don't want to give up, like, this big star we just got. So, like, let's keep it alive. Maybe. But
I would have liked that.
And finally, Kirby is the first of these girls that you see. So, you see the girl in the beginning get murdered, and then we're introduced to Dewey, and then Kirby races by Dewey. So Kirby's our introduction to these new characters. So I really think Kirby's like the main character in a lot of ways.
I agree. Which that scene where they're driving, that truck drives by, that was like the first jump scare that got me right off the bat. Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I can see that because she's the only one that kind of, I mean, other people survive, but she's the only like one group of her friends that like survives. And obviously, we see her throughout the whole film. She has like her hand in like almost every scene and every like thing that happens here too. So I can see that.
I mean, yeah, I could agree with that.
She's very up and coming now too, or during that time, and obviously she's been in a ton of things since.
Yeah, she was. Has she? Well, I guess I sort of recognize her. She was looking good in this, though. Gotta tell you what. Okay, so what I was going to say is that out in the cornfield outside of the barn scene, they tried to keep this shoot a secret, but sure enough, after they filmed that night, there were. Well, that was more than one night, but one of the nights after they filmed, there were photos leaked online of Courtney Cox in her car before she goes in. So obviously there was a camera with a super microscopic lens out in the fields, way away, taking photos of them filming. And then they actually caught a photographer in the parking garage during the parking garage scene, like trying to take photos and just for media purposes, because they were trying to keep the set on a down low. So I thought that was sort of funny. I'm doing a couple more. Oh, I just thought the word "how meta can you get" was funny because Rob kept saying how meta, and Carmelo and I actually was like meta, and it's just sort of funny that they're like.
And Gail didn't know what that word meant either, so it's okay.
Oh, they all know what it meant.
Sydney's stunt double missed the gutter 3 times on that scene where she rolls off the roof and grabs the gutter.
Oh,
thought that was interesting.
That scene I really had a problem with because I think one of the lines was, "We can't jump. It's 2 stories." It's like it's 9 feet, maybe, and she falls off and pops right up. Like, oh shit! Yeah, we could have jumped the whole time, I guess.
They do stay to the tradition they keep to it in the previous films for the rules that the movie follows. Of course, they're always different, and as Sydney states in this one, don't fuck with the original, which she says that, which is kind of very cliche and corny, but that's okay. You have to be gay in order to survive.
I like that one. That one's funny.
Which doesn't work for the guy with the camera on his head at the towards the end there. One of the cinema club nerds. Police officers, number 3, police officers will always die in horror movies, except for Bruce Willis, especially if they are near retirement, better looking than the other person, or have a newborn baby on the way.
Yes.
Number 4, the original ending is the false ending in a remake. And number 5, the killer is always right behind you.
Yes.
That's it.
I do.
That was a really good Matthew Lillard.
The cop deaths were awesome. Obviously, the knife to the head was pretty fucking awesome.
I mean, Tay Diggs is not ever going to survive one of these movies.
There's no Tay Diggs in this movie.
There's most certainly was Tay Diggs.
That was Anthony Anderson, and his name was Anthony Perkins. His officer's name was Anthony Perkins in this homage to
Psycho.
Anthony Perkins, obviously, who played.
How great was the line? Why won't you die? What are you, Michael fucking Myers?
Yeah. that knife to the head was added in later by Wes Craven. He actually saw a broadcast for some guy that got stabbed right in the forehead and actually walked to the hospital, still alive, where he actually eventually passed away. But he used it in there because of that, and you see Anthony Anderson stumbling around trying to find him, and then finally he falls
talked
down.
about how he did not get that approved by Weinstein first and just did it, and then waited for the dailies knowing or thinking, oh, I'm going to get fired, but then he was totally cool with it. Like, he would really fire Wes Craven on the set of Scream.
Yeah.
But I thought in general that there was, you know me, I've complained about this before, too much talking at the end. There's just too much of that cynical, evil speeching at the end. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't like the ending. It's just, and it's not even the ending. It's just that point. Well, even at the ending, there was some too much talking. Give me the gun, blah, blah. What I want to do one of these days, it's going to be challenging because you can't just rush through it and make it over in 2 seconds. But I want to make an ending where there's like no talking and where there would be people just get shot and stuff, you know. So like when the cop stands up, she should have been shot immediately, and then when Gail stands up, she should have been shot immediately.
Yeah.
And then you know what I mean? It's like. She's just like, think that you're blah, blah, blah. Hand over the gun, blah, 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 blah. It's like, no. And she should have shot Sydney right in the head. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just
I wish the ending
was
was just more bam. I wish they just would have gunned that little brat down.
I've noted here, and if you guys observe differently, tell me. But I have noted here that Jill gets hotter once it's revealed that she's a psycho killer.
I don't see that.
What?
Is it just
she gets a little more freaky looking.
I don't like her.
Is that quality in a woman where you never know if she's going to shove a knife down your throat? Is that not a sexy thing to the rest of you?
I think she got frumpier as the movie went on.
I think she got hotter because, I like a woman to take charge.
A little crazy. I do like her hurting herself spree at the end there when she just smashes herself into the picture frame, and that was really cool.
I do like a woman to take charge, but I'm not sexist at all.
Look at her look at her.
I do
take charge.
It is a turnoff for me when women are like getting super grunty and passionate in like a physical sport in front of me. I don't know why. Like I had a
turn off.
Yeah, it's a turn off. Like
you're not a fan of the Williams.
I had an ex-girlfriend who played softball in high school, but she got all super serious about it. And like when I watched her get up to bat, she had this thing where she like hit herself in the shoulder with the bat over and over. It's like, "Rrr, rrr," and then she get up to swing. And I was like, oh, good God.
God.
Or like if I see a girl in the gym and she's like, "Rrr, rrr," and she's doing like deadlifts or something, I'm like, oh, God.
Look at her take charge. I may or may not say that, and she walks the woods.
Yeah. So, Rory was apparently all hopped up on Red Bull. Yeah, Wes, that's just what they kept talking about at the end. Wes Craven said, I cannot believe how many Red Bulls he had while filming this final
And he
scene.
was so calm and collective during the
He said that's
filming.
why he's pale and almost out of it at the end here. Doing his best Matthew Lillard impression is what Wes actually said. He's like, he's doing his Matthew Lillard.
Wow.
I like Rory Culkin. I mean,
he wasn't bad.
He's just not a killer in me. But I think all the actors in the movie were really good. I think that's what sets this one apart from like Scream 2. I think I said you had Timothy Olyphant, and he just stands out so much more than everybody else. It really brings it down. And this, I think everybody was on the same. I think everybody was just as good. So it was actually a really easy watch. I really liked it.
Emma Robertson was afraid of knives and had to do that cutting the duct tape scene like 10 times, and they had to pre-cut some of the duct tape for her. She's afraid she's going to like cut through it and hit herself in the head with a knife.
And they didn't do any collapsible knives and stuff during this. They used real knives, a lot of real knives, because
they did a
lot of CGI. This is the first Scream film that they used CGI in.
They said that they used retractable knives in the commentary.
Oh, really? Well, I was reading in Wikipedia. Some of the knife, like the knife to Anthony Anderson's head, was CG'd, and a couple other ones were too.
I know that was CG'd.
A couple of the more real looking ones.
Just in the stabbings in the stomach and things, I know they used a collapsible or a retractable knife, and they even mentioned how they would use like plastic plating underneath their shirts in order, because it would still bruise you, it would still sort of hurt. You got to do it real hard, and sometimes they would just completely miss the mark and cause bruising here and there. But
oh wow,
yeah. Another interesting thing is that the glass table stunt didn't break the first 2 times, so her stunt double completely threw herself on it, and it took 3 times for it to actually break. And I think he said that they put in little, I don't know what you call it, squibs or whatever, to help it break after that with her. And Yeah, that didn't break, and then I think that was the only stunt one I had. My last two notes really are just that she tears off all the shit in the hospital. Like, the nurses would be there in 10 seconds, and Wes acknowledged that and said, there's some holes here. You know, those alarms would be going off in the nurses' station.
I will say they fixed the holes with, like, the furniture. The killer didn't seem to be
Hit a bunch of furniture.
Yeah, he wasn't, or she wasn't hurt by furniture. And then, too, they got rid of the weak doors. But in this one, the killer stabs the aunt or whatever through the mail slot, through the mail door, and she may have needed a couple of stitches. I don't think she was dead on impact.
There's no, I mean, and the knife blade only stuck out like maybe 3 inches from the mail slot. There's no way.
Yeah, no.
You can you can do a lot with 3 inches.
Well,
that's true, but
okay,
but kill somebody you cannot.
The bedpan was rubber.
Oh,
just thought I'd throw that out there.
That wasn't real.
I like.
So they add the sound in later.
Oh, they added all these sounds in later. All the stabbing sounds. I mean, I can only imagine what the set's like. Well, I can now because I have seen our film without post sound and with post sound, and it's worlds better. And so you can just imagine these like spring-loaded retractable knives and people going, quish, 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 stabbing each other. There's no sound effects. There's nothing going on. There's no blood some of the time.
Yeah. Did you guys notice that Kirby's house, the roof was very convenient to walk on? It's very flat and nice for Nev Campbell to walk on there with the killer. True fact, though, before shooting, Hayden Panettiere had a burglar break into her house. And while the police were on the way, she climbed out onto the roof and waited until they arrived. So, yeah. Very, very fun fact there, because your house.
Well, they had mentioned in the commentary how they just found this perfect house, and that's what it was. That's the same when she rolls off and misses the gun 3 times.
Very nice.
But yeah, that's all the notes I have. I don't know.
That's it.
Yeah.
The only thing I have, I forgot. But for Ty, the gun and only gun used in the movie was the Glock 17.
Oh,
for Ty.
Okay. Cool, guys. That wraps up Scream 4. We'll be on to People Under the Stairs next week. Let's move on to our...
Which there is one more fact I wrote here. There was a People Under the Stairs poster hanging in the cinema club.
Yes. Yeah, there was a ton of posters in the cinema club. I saw Death Proof. I saw...
I did see
Thing.
The Death Proof.
I saw... Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, but since we're covering that's pretty cool. Obviously, it's Wes Craven, so he put it there.
Cool. Well, that wraps up Scream 4. That wraps up the Scream series.
What a great series. It was fun.
Yes, it was good to revisit.
Note. So, a closing thought on Scream 5 real quick that never happened. The Scream series replaced Scream 5. So, any interest in us doing can we do television shows? Is that weird?
That's an MTV series, right? The Scream series.
Yeah.
I never even realized there was one until
it's on
now.
MTV, right?
Like until a couple days ago.
Yeah. Obviously, there's no of the same characters in that. Like, we don't see Nev Campbell, we don't see David Arquette or Courtney Cox, but I mean, maybe.
Yeah, well,
it's probably worth a try. Maybe something, if people want it, we could do a Patreon feed of reviews on that one.
Has any of you guys ever watched an episode?
I did.
I've seen it. I maybe not in order. Maybe just caught one episode. I can't remember much about it.
Really?
I've seen 2 seasons of it, and then they did a movie that I watched. I did not see the most recent 3rd season, but it's only 6 episodes. It's pretty short, and it was pretty poorly reviewed. I liked the first 2. I thought they were decent. I think a lot of Rob's going to dislike them a lot because a lot of the things he didn't like in the first place about Scream are really highlighted in the show. And it's a lot more violent than you'd think it would be for being on TV. And
the only time I'm watching MTV is if Teen Mom 2 marathon's on.
Yeah.
So I've definitely not seen it.
But yeah, so I guess if we're not doing the show and Scream 5 is DOA because of the show, then that concludes the series.
Yeah. And I actually just read there is reported that Blumhouse Productions in 2019 early might bring back Scream installment at some point. I think
it's reported that Blumhouse is remaking every single horror franchise.
No, they can't. They can't remake anything else until they give me a Friday the 13th.
So they
I don't care what else
did Halloween
do.
last
I want
year.
A Friday the 13th.
They're gonna maybe bring Scream.
You know what hasn't been said that they're gonna remake because they can't touch it. Evil Dead.
You never know. That was already remade.
I know
by Sam Raimi.
No, by Fede Alvarez.
Yeah, Fede Alvarez. Yeah.
I will say, everyone knows that we love that film, and there have been rumors of him making an Evil Dead 2, and I would fucking.
I hope they do.
Be there on day one, and I would cream my pants to watch Evil Dead 2 by Fede Alvarez.
One of the things I do. Last thing I want to say about this, the thing I like about Scream is the whole franchise has all of its main characters and as well as the director return for all the sequels, which you don't see that a lot. So that's pretty cool that happened.
Yeah.
All right, that wraps up Scream 4. Let's move on to our final segment. What did you watch?
Before the final segment of What Did You Watch?
Fuck.
Yes, I know, Danny.
Poop on a stick.
Savannah listened to Poolside of the Flamingo for the first time, and she absolutely loved the breakdown and she's gotten into some she's been casting dark spells.
Nice.
All right.
So I have a little segment. It's going to be what Savannah recommends for you to listen to. And this week's song, I'm going to just do one song. This week's song is Dark Omen by Angel Maker, and it's pretty badass.
Awesome.
So
and don't forget to listen to She Walks the Woods by Poolside of the Flamingo.
Yes. I'm surprised that Savannah hadn't listened to us before this week.
Yes.
No, she has, but she listened to the She Walks the Woods by Poolside of the Flamingo, and she actually really listened to it, and she is really into it. So
nice.
Go to iTunes. All the Poolside is there, but while you're there, check out Angel Maker's Dark Omen.
Our friends were supposed to go on tour with them, and the whole thing got canceled because someone couldn't get their work visa. I don't know if Angel Maker's from out of state or someone else. I think it was
they're from Canada.
It might have been Angel Maker. It might have been another larger band that was headlining to the tour that they couldn't get their work visas and they had to cancel the whole tour. So
goodness,
as our friend's Crown Magnetar couldn't make it. But anyways. Yes. All right. What did you watch? I don't remember. What did you watch, Carmelo? I have to remember my couple.
I went to go see Rambo: Last Blood.
Ooh, was it good?
I liked it a lot. I think. The action was incredible. He literally he's like Jason Voorhees in that movie. He literally rips a guy's fucking.
I saw some highlights. It looks
really awesome.
Really good.
I liked it because it was a return to form. Rambo's whole thing in First Blood is that he's trained in guerrilla war tactics. He was never meant to be this cartoonish action hero who could fight 60 guys in a room alone. He was meant to he'll pick you off one by one and he'll set traps and stuff like that. And he does that in this. I think there was some stuff that was a little underdeveloped, and I think it's not quite the emotional end of the series that I was hoping for, the Rocky Balboa of Rambo's, and
it seemed like a bunch of stuff got leaked and maybe they rushed certain parts is what I heard, kind of. Yeah. But I still want to see it. I still think it'll be good.
It could have done with another 15-20 minutes of some development, but I liked it. I think it's a good entry in the series.
Stallone's not looking too haggard and old. He's still got it. Gotta love him. I watched Exorcism of Emily Rose with Danny and Rob.
Oh, yeah, me and Rob and Scotty watched that. Yeah.
See, we missed you, Carmelo.
When Carmelo intentionally didn't miss his flight.
We were going to watch the possession of, what's it called? We couldn't find it.
We couldn't find the Deborah Logan.
The Taking of Deborah Logan. We couldn't find it. So we watched Exorcism of Emily Rose, which still is a great movie.
We powered through. Me and Scotty got up early after the rager we had in Denver.
Oh God, yeah, we did.
Boulder.
Goodness, man. We went to bed at 6 a.m. or 5:45 a.m.
I think someone's using my Netflix. There's a ton of shit on here I haven't watched that it says I've watched.
Well, and then I also, what did I watch? I also watched the end of Frozen with Stella.
Oh yeah,
yes.
I've watched Frozen every day since Disneyland with Stella. It's been on.
It's your turn. I've done it as well. Then the new Netflix TV series, Marianne. I've watched a couple episodes of that. Patrick Ruffer recommended it. It's really, really good. And I have read this 3 times now.
Oh my God! Thank you so much, Rob. I'm so glad you liked it.
Nice.
Oh shit!
I need to start reading more.
He's holding up Carmelo's graphic novel just for you guys listening.
It is phenomenal. I love it, and I don't read. I don't read too much. But yeah, I haven't watched a ton, but we all watched Scream 3 together. It was friggin' phenomenal. And then that was great. We all watched Exorcism of Emily Rose, which still holds up. It's still a damn good movie.
Yeah, it is. Love it.
Okay, yeah, I watched Exeter, which is a movie from like 2011 that is about some kids partying and getting possessed one by one. Jason Blum was actually a producer on it.
Ooh,
it was okay. Cool. It's on Shudder, so yeah, it's all right. I wouldn't rush to see it, but if you're browsing and need to watch something, it's pretty good. And then I watched Southbound, which I've never seen before, which is on Amazon, or I think it's on Shudder as well. So
I'll check that out.
Yeah, both good little, I wouldn't say they're unknown because I see them all the time in my feed.
I do too. I just never watched them.
But just finally watched them. So they weren't too bad. Southbound, nice little anthology film. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. All right. I think that wraps us up. Announcements. We are almost done revamping our Patreon. Carmelo's been hard at work. Or hardly working.
I just flew into Denver and my arms are tired.
He's been hard at work. And so we'll be rolling that out hopefully this week in the next couple days. Just so you guys know, we warned you last week, and we actually... this episode will have some advertising in it. You have noticed that there was some advertising in this episode. Over the next few days, if you want ad-free listening, you can subscribe to Patreon at the $5 level or above to get ad-free episodes. And then another thing that you will notice is that only 50 of our episodes are free through iTunes or Apple or any podcast app. If you want the entire back catalog of our episodes, because there are more than 200, you can join Patreon at $5 level or above, and then you'll have access to all 200, and this is 23, I think, all 223 episodes, so you can go back and from the beginning and start listening to those. Those are just a couple of the perks among many. We already mentioned that you're going to be able to start voting on what movies we cover as long as you're at the appropriate level. You'll also get access to our Cult Classic Action podcast, which now that we have revamped some things, we are committed to once a month. We did launch it a while back, and we've been lazy about releasing episodes, but now we are for sure once a monthing it. We will have the Cult Classic Action show, which is the same layout as this, but we'll be covering action films, our favorites from back in the day. Then also... I think that's, the main... Oh, another cool feature that I don't know if we figured this out yet, but Carmelo assures me it's possible, is that I think this is a fucking awesome feature. You guys will be able to literally call in and leave a voicemail that we will then play. Yeah, we will then play it on the podcast and then respond to it. So if you're a patron at the appropriate level, I'm not sure what that is. I think it's like $25 or something a month. You can call in to this number. We'll give you the number and leave a voicemail. Likely, obviously, it'll have to pertain to the film we're covering, and you can just say, it'll be limited, like 30 seconds or less, maybe even 15 seconds or less, and just be like, hey, I thought this movie was horseshit because X, Y, and Z, or I love this movie because so-and-so had huge boobs and it makes my taint tingle. And then it'll just be that, and then we'll respond to it.
Or a fun fact, whatever.
Whatever you want to say.
Yes. Get on the show with us. That's what we mean by saying we want to make it more interactive. So we want to do all these great things, and it takes a little bit of money to do that. With your support, we're going to be able to give that right back to you and make this shit even more awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. Another thing we're going to do that's cool is a monthly live streaming episode only on YouTube. We'll share the private link with people who are subscribed to the appropriate level on Patreon. And I think, Carmelo, right, we talked about doing more a hot button new horror topic issues, sort of like right now maybe we would discuss is the new It 2 a piece of trash, and why or why not? Or I've been hearing a lot of flack about Midsummer, and is it just a stupid piece of artwork that shouldn't be a film?
I am refusing to watch that movie based on my attorney's recommendation.
We almost watched it with all of us.
These are the kinds of things that we will be debating on YouTube live streaming, and then since you're privileged with that link, you're also able to interact via the comments, and so we don't ignore any comments. Literally 3 of us will sort of argue and whatever, or there might only be 2 of us there that day. Whoever's there will be interacting and talking, and then one of us it'll be our sole job to moderate and then look at all the comments and make sure that your voice is heard. So
very fun and interactive.
Yeah. Yes. So a lot of new things rolling out this week. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us. Make sure that you rate and review us in Apple Podcasts and iTunes. That'll help us out a lot. Follow us at Cult Classic Horror on everything except at CC Horror on Twitter, at Danny Bonin, at Scotty Bonin, at O'Neilio with 4 O's, at Chimera's Comics. And we'd love to keep up with you. So thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next week.
Later,
guys.
Take it easy.
Don't you blame the movies? Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
Oh yes, there will be blood.